Today is Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, March 25th for the Orleans Council on Aging Board meeting. Calling the meeting to order. And I will move into the chair's report. And first on our agenda is the vote to approve the board minutes from March 4th, 2026. You received a copy of those today and via email. Can I have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Second?
I second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. To add to my report, we did receive the email from Judy that one of our board members unfortunately needed to resign from the board due to some health issues, Mary Walsh, effective immediately. So that does leave us with 2 vacancies. We are in discussion with several individuals, which is good news. And a few of you have mentioned that there are some others that you've been talking with. So we did go through the process of kind of doing our board skills assessment analysis. And I think, we should take advantage of that, right? What I'd like to do is, maybe have some discussions with individuals as they express some interest. I'm happy to have coffee with individuals or meet with them in advance. We can chat a little bit about board responsibilities, what they're interested in, what their background is, see if we can make some sort of match, bring that information back here. Certainly anybody who wants to, pursue, they can do that. But if we have the opportunity to really kind of make sure that we have the complement that we need here, that's going to really be a benefit to the board and to the COA. So as you have individuals who express some interest, why don't you reach out to me or have them reach out to me? You can feel free to give them my email or cell phone. And I'll set up some time with them to meet with them, and we'll kind of go through an informal process to kind of chat.
Denise, can I also encourage, if you have friends or anybody who's interested, to have them attend meetings as well?
For sure, and that will be part of.
Even before you've interviewed them, so that they know the nature of the beast a little bit better, and we look for that as criteria before we appoint.
Good point. Yeah, that may be, particularly if they've not, and we do have some individuals who are interested in returning, so they're obviously familiar, but someone who's not familiar.
And not scared away.
Exactly, right. So that is a good way to go about it, but I'm really encouraged that we've got some people expressing interest. That's really good since we have the 2 spots. So
what is a quorum? Is it 4 or 5?
4.
4, okay.
Yeah.
Before we leave this topic, could I suggest that we send a letter thanking Mary Walsh for her many years of service? And
I did that.
did you?
Yeah.
How many years was she here?
I have it in front of me. She was in the middle of her second term.
Yeah. So
5.
yeah, 5.
That's great. Thank you.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
I should have CC'd all of you on that. I will forward it to you so you have the opportunity to see that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, that's it for my chair's report. Public comment. We have no one here from the public. And select board liaison report.
I'm gonna defer until you've got a very full agenda with Mark here, so I'm gonna defer to your agenda today.
Great, thank you. Judy, you want to move into the finance report?
Sure. So the financial report is page maybe 4 and 5 in the packet. We group it so that all of the town funds are together, and I apologize for the small print. I don't know how to get it on one page without having to look across multiple pages for spreadsheets without it being small, so I apologize about that. Our what we call our operating expenses are the top 2 items on the first page of the financial report, and that's broken into salaries and operating expenditures. And we are somewhere around 65% of the year, 70% of the year. So our salaries are looking good. Our operating expenditures are always a little bit lower because we have a couple of big like maintenance invoices that come in the last 2 months of the fiscal year. So I'm not concerned about that number being low. The other funds on that page are special articles that have to do with the vehicle, telephone replacement, parking lot repairs. Some of these projects we don't necessarily oversee, like the parking lot repairs, and kitchen appliances, HVAC, those things are through the building facilities department. So those are overseen by DPW Ron Collins. But he and I do talk. I will say that the HVAC, the town has gotten a grant through the Green Communities. And we actually had engineers on site today, looking at it, to try and plan for the program. Much of our HVAC system has been converted to the high efficiency heat pumps. We have 2 remaining units will be, transitioned. We're working on the timing of that, because it'll involve, because of where they're located, it'll involve, closing programs down for 2 weeks. So I've given Ron some target dates, but I don't know that the vendors are ready to schedule it yet. And if they can't, because of our programming schedule, it'll kind of push it out a couple of months, just because once people pay for classes, it's really hard to just cancel classes. Anyway, so that's being done. We're in the process of gathering quotes for kitchen appliances, so that's being done. And I'm catching up on some of the other big project stuff that we're looking at. The second page is what we call our special funds. So it's things like our formula grant. You can see that we have received maybe about 2/3 of our formula grant. The distribution, I think I mentioned last time, has been very different. It's kind of coming in dribs and drabs this year. Typically, it's come in one lump sum, but very late in the fiscal year. This year, we keep getting notifications that they've released 13.7% or 16%. So it's coming. Typically, the money that we receive will become next year's budget, just because we have no idea when the funds will be received during the fiscal year. It's kind of a discussion point for the MCNA with the state.
But it's not at risk.
It's not at risk, no. And as of right now in the governor's budget, it's been level funded for next year, which is really a good thing. We're lucky because the budget is tight next year. Anyways, everything else is pretty consistent. You can see there's a lot of expenditures and deposits from our revolving fund, and that has to do with the programming cycle. So all of the funds that we pay out for programs come from that. All the funds that we collect for programs come from that revolving fund. I have already been in touch with the finance department about the fact that we're going to go over what we projected for our expenditure limit and have asked for an increase for next year as well. And that's just a reflection of busier, I think, or busier and more programming. Everything else looks pretty copacetic there.
On the HVAC, is the whole building on electricity in terms of heat?
Not yet, no.
So is the heat being replaced by, is it gas and going over to electric?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Okay, and there's no backup or?
No, but I do know that that's something that is being discussed in terms of backup, but no, at this point, no.
Yeah.
Right now, from the lobby down has
Uh-huh.
been converted, but from that door to that hallway on has not been converted, and that's 2 units in there.
Yeah.
So we'll be moving those last 2 units to the heat pump.
Okay.
When you say gas, is it natural gas?
It's natural gas, yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, but, you know, Mike and I had talked about this. We don't quite have a handle on what the heating costs are going to be. We're kind of lucky that we got through this far of the winter without what I'm sure will be new increases in the natural gas. We're watching it, and then Mark's been working on the solar credits and making sure that those get credited towards us to offset the increased electricity. Yeah.
All right, thank you for that report. You can move into the director's report.
Let's see. The stats, it's a March report, but it reflects February. We were closed a week in February. February is a shorter month, so the stats are a little bit lower than normal, because of the decreased programming. I will say that I'm not gonna read off the stats. One of the major impacts of all of this is that when we cancel a program that people have paid for, we have to issue vouchers. It's a substitution for refunds. Refunds would impact a lot more town personnel if we had to refund every $6 class. So what we do is we refund a voucher for a missed class. If someone misses a class and it's due to their not coming to the class, we don't refund, but if we have had to cancel a class, then we refund. We've had over 300 vouchers due to weather in the month of February, so it's been a lot of internal work. We treat it like cash, so we track it very carefully. We make sure it goes to the person that it belongs to. They then use the voucher on their next class to kind of take off the corresponding amount of money, so we collect them back. Like I said, it functions kind of like COA cash, if you will. It's very time, my staff is not happy about it, but I honestly don't know of a better way to do it. When we convert to an electronic system, that might help that issue, but right now, there's nothing else that we can do about that. It is just time consuming, but that has taken a ton of staff time over the course of the last couple of weeks. Major things to talk about. We had a meeting about the generator since we met last. It's only been a few weeks since we met, so it's a short recording time. Met in this room with Mark was part of the meeting, the DPW director Ritualdo, and Ron Collins, who's the building facilities manager. I requested the meeting because I know that we're getting ready to go out to bid for the generator. But I just was concerned that we were really making sure we were catching all the full scope that was wanted. What happened to the project along the way is we've had a lot of sprinkler issues in this building. And there's been talk about moving the sprinkler to a nitrogen system because we're having leaks at all sorts of places and they're very expensive. We have spent about $11,000 a year the last few years on sprinkler repairs because the pipes have rusted. And we don't find it till there's a leak. So that ended up the sprinkler system and the need to have that on the generator kind of became a bigger part of the generator planning. And I was a little bit concerned that we were really losing sight of what the COA wanted for it. So the decision was made at that meeting to gather some additional engineering cost estimates. And then bring it forward to town administration to make some decisions about how to move forward. That if it was gonna cost a lot more than budgeted or planned, to allow the town to make the decision in terms of how the building will be used during times. For us, this all started out with wanting to get our refrigerators, our commercial kitchen in. We have a refrigerator and a day center we're not so worried about, but we lost over $1,000 worth of food with the last storm, and that we don't get reimbursed for that. So that was part of it, but then also there's been a lot of discussions and we've been moving it along because the intent was to put it over where the mechanical room is, but that's in the flood zone, so that can't happen. So how do we get some computers? It's complicated. I don't pretend to be an engineer, but I think the clarification and the gathering of a little bit more information will help make sure that the public expectations of what will be done in the project will be clear.
So you mentioned the sprinkler system and power. Does the sprinkler system require power, or would the new nitrogen one require power?
So it does require power.
The
And
water one also?
we had to shut the sprinkler system down because we didn't have power in the building. And so when we went to go turn it back on, it had to be turned on. We actually couldn't turn it right back on when we opened. Because we knew that there was frozen water in the pipes.
Right.
So the pipes had to be purged and drained, and we had to make sure it happened very slowly to make sure there wasn't too much pressure in the system from melting ice. So having a different system and having power for that would kind of alleviate some of those concerns. Not sure I'm reflecting that as accurately as Ron would do, but.
Is the expectation that this building could be a warming center?
So
which we all know about now because.
Right, because we've had to use it. So, this generator will not power the whole building. That became very evident early on, in the planning, that there's no way to power the whole building because we can't get the power to the source of the building where that would be needed. But there's been talk about how we get some computers on it by rewiring things, the sprinkler system, the meeting rooms.
The kitchen.
The kitchen, but what we found out is that the only kitchen appliances that were on the power were the fridges and the freezers, so we didn't have electrical outlets with a generator, which doesn't, to me, make sense, that if we're gonna have give us kitchen, because we could have had addressed some food issues last time. But also we realized there was not gonna be any heat in the meeting rooms, which for me was kind of a flag. Because if we're getting a generator, I would expect that we would have heat. I mean, the elections that happened here in November, I mean, if we lost power, we have to have, they're bringing in the temporary generators. But if we're doing a permanent thing, I think that should be part of it. And what happened is we listened to the select board, public comments, that happened about the warming center. And like how, if this building, I know that the long-term plan is a community center, but we all know, I think that that's 10 years plus away. Really, before that's, you know, a possibility. And in the meantime, if we are spending the money for a generator, let's like see if we can get what we really need to be a little bit more functional, and functionally helpful during times like that. Part of the thing is that storm outage was in the winter when there were only this many people in town. But a power outage at a different time of year, there'll be this many people in town. And one room might not meet that need, so kind of looking at those issues as well.
I said, go for as much as you can get. And even, you know, even if you can only do Wi-Fi, that would be a big help and relieve pressure in other areas.
Yeah,
But I was thinking, I would much rather be in this place. I mean, it has a carpet, which is better than, you know, some other places and more comfort than, say, the Skakit room,
yeah,
I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, but they have heat there at least.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did. That's why.
yeah, so that's part of it, like
Because we
heat,
didn't have a
and then
generator.
the other thing was without people with power, if our kitchen is working, we can address food needs,
Yeah.
like we could provide.
And remind me, did it come up at our last meeting that people were actually here making food out of making sandwiches and stuff in brown bags and then delivered them?
We did,
70 of them?
yeah, yeah.
And so that was checking on people too.
Yeah.
Sort of
That
indirect
was,
checking.
that
on
was as
people.
much the purpose of
Right.
it, truthfully,
Yeah.
yeah,
And delivered by volunteers,
no, staff did it.
staff did it, wow.
Do you have a goal, a time frame set as to when the generator would be installed?
I do not.
Oh, I mean, if you keep adding this,
I do.
is it delaying it a year? Is it, you know, what?
My understanding
That's
is,
like next Tuesday.
Mark, you can speak to this, but it was ready to go out to bid soon. And I just wanted to make sure we took one more, we looked through a different lens before we did that. To make sure that everybody understood what we were getting and not getting. So that's what's happening now. And municipal projects take time. I mean,
So then it goes to bid,
yeah,
and then when the bid comes back and you find one, then you have to go to a town meeting to.
no, there are already funds set aside. I'll let Mark address this.
Okay.
Go for it, Mark.
Yeah, so Mark Real, Assistant Town Manager, you know, as Judy's mentioned, we had these conversations about the generator project and. Both of us really were unsure of exactly what was within the scope, and so. It was a good idea to meet with Rich Waldo, the DPW director, and Ron Collins. And found that there were some areas that the generator would not be covering. And ultimately looking at, you know, a winter situation where you're losing power. You know, the generator kicks on, this is an opportunity to make sure that the generator isn't just. You know, running your refrigerators and your lights, because with a week without power, you have no heat. Well, you've got some other major issues, so. It was a reset of how we're looking at the project and making sure that we don't miss that opportunity, because the voters expect us to be thorough. And so right now, Ron is gonna work with an engineer to look at what possibilities there are, what the costs are. We're hopeful that it does not require additional funds and that we could find them within, but I do believe that if it does require additional funds, we can have that conversation with the select board and finance committee and find a solution.
So do these type of projects typically have a scope that's outlined and but it just didn't get to you, I mean, it seems like, right, a lot of lost time, right, that we've been talking about the generator for also a couple of years. You know, kind of reminds me of the phone situation, right, that, you know, are all of the departments that are potentially impacted by some of these townwide projects, you know, is the scope of the project sent out to all of the stakeholders so that they can kind of weigh in on them?
I would say that there's progress being made on making that become more of a priority as opposed to a previously existing silo of facilities being its own little realm. It's becoming more of a broader part of DPW and more conversations about what work is being done.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, so hopefully the meeting that you had kind of highlighted that for them,
I
right?
raised-
It sounds like it was.
Yeah, I mean, I had approached Mark about it and I said, I would like, after listening to the public speak, I just felt like if we had moved forward with where I thought it was at, I don't think the public would have been very happy with us. So, and is it too expensive? Maybe, but I think that's a public discussion, right? The public discussion is this what we want? Because this is what it
Exactly.
costs.
Yeah.
So I think it was a great reset. That's
I
what
think
thought.
that was good, Judy.
That's good. And as somebody with a generator, two things. One, it's really nice to have as much on as you can. I mean, really, because you just, even if you had one outlet on in every room, that makes a difference. You could put something in there that keep the sprinkler from freezing and stuff like that. It's just huge. And then the second thing is, I do have a generator and I was inviting people to my house and there were other people who had generators and I wondered if we should put up a list or, you know, match people who were. And it's such an emergency where I was worried that people would die and I can't believe that somebody didn't, but. I know people who slept by everybody has fireplaces now, electric fireplaces, they slept by their fireplaces.
Yeah,
If they had electricity, so I don't know if something like that could be put together.
yeah, I have a son who's a firefighter and there were a lot of chimney fires during the storm because people lost their fireplaces that.
So we really just lucked out, I think,
Yeah.
but I'm really happy we did. A lot of people did nice things.
It was, I will say, I mean, that's the benefit to living in a community like this. I mean, people really do look out for one another, sure. But is there a way to kind of capitalize on that? And that was part of the reset. So I think it was a productive meeting and I'm pleased with the direction, so. Also had a meeting with Amanda Converse, who's the town's economic development officer and public information officer. I'm not sure I have that out, right, but I am meeting with her because the town is kind of working on the new branding. And it was important that she and I have a meeting to find out how the COA will incorporate that branding because we do a lot of public-facing communications. Also, we are trying to get our social media going. And part of the holdup has been that social media has to be coordinated in such a way that it complies with public records law. And the town has so many slots and they're all being used right now. And there are plans to request the budget needed to increase that number of slots. So I'm working with her to make sure she knows we're ready when that happens. And I've talked a little bit about how we're in the process of our newsletter has to migrate. We've done it on Publisher for years. It has to Publisher is a software program that will not be supported come fall. So we have to migrate that to a new platform called Canva. We already are using that for our flyers, but a newsletter is kind of a different beast. 3 of us have been in a 6-week training program on that. So that the goal is that by the end of October, our newsletter can migrate. And so working with Amanda since we're designing a new template for the newsletter, is this the time to make design changes? And then how do we work with town resources to incorporate that in a way that's acceptable? So, we're working on all of that. And the other communications goal that I have had is that we need to get our brochures updated. We need the supportive day needs to be updated, that we need a transportation brochure and a general brochure for the COA. So, working on those things through a new approach in terms of incorporating the new branding information. So, and then, I've had one more meeting about the guide program with MCOA, who contacted the subcontractor in Massachusetts. And the Cape is ahead of other areas of the state in what they're trying to do. But part of why they are able to move forward so quickly is they have partnered with a private nonprofit, the Alzheimer's Family Support Center, which isn't quite as, it's a wonderful organization, but it's not a government organization. So their freedom to do things and kind of morph how they do things, is greater. So, there is another meeting, I believe, that's happening in about a month's time, with the organization that has the contract with the federal government out of Florida. And so I'm waiting for more information, but I will say MCOA echoed my concerns and the need to be conservative in approach, because they also share some concerns about the implications of contracting and billing, because this is a CMS Medicare billing situation. So, and where we're not a healthcare organization, there could be audit implications and a lot of others, things that aren't clear yet. They also let me know that I was told that contracting was a 6 to 12 week process, and they've been hearing that it's more like a 6 to 10 month process. So I feel like the reservation's been my concern has been validated. And I'm gonna wait to hear more from the state on moving forward. In the meantime, I need you to understand that there have been some letters that have gone out to people in the community about this program. So we may be seeing questions, but there's a lot of details that people don't understand. One of the things I learned that if you're on Medicare, it could qualify you for about $2,400 worth of services. But there's an assessment tool and you have to score a certain way on the assessment tool. So it's not, so the information that's out there is pretty simplified, and this is not a simple project. So I just want you to know, I feel pretty strongly we're doing the right thing by just waiting to get questions answered before we jump in here.
Who sent out the letters?
Medicare. Medicare sent out some letters about the program being available in the area.
Oh,
So just because it's ready, just because it may be available in the area, doesn't mean there are vendors yet worked out. So,
okay.
yeah,
It's a great idea.
it is a very good idea, and I'm very supportive of what they're trying to do. It's just a matter of how it really works and making sure we get accurate information about that before we commit. We've been working on a couple of administrative projects over the last couple of weeks. I talked to you a little bit about the vouchers. That took a lot of staff time to work out. We have had some issues internally with our menu development, and people not using the shared network. And there's just been too much staff time being used on menu development. So I'm trying to tackle that program. We've had a meeting and are working on a new system for that.
Food menu?
Yeah, I mean, we serve meals here 5 days a week.
Right.
So it's, the cook doesn't have access to the computer system, so it's like getting entered, but it's not getting entered into the shared system. And then we have to make sure, this is more detail than you need, but Tuesdays and Thursdays can't be chicken because people come to supportive day on Tuesdays, come Thursdays. So there's like some blocking that needs to happen with the menu, and there's too many cooks in the kitchen on this one. I'm trying to simplify and give someone more authority to fewer people, because because I'm having way too many menu discussions. Too many of us are having too many menu discussions. And then the other thing we are working hard to do is that the local program that operates through the Catholic Church has been a longstanding program. Over the pandemic, it used to be that people went there for lunch. That didn't happen again after the pandemic. They do food delivery. But we've been using paid staff to do that, and I don't want to continue to do that. I don't think that's an appropriate use of staff time on an ongoing basis. They don't have the volunteers. We approached them first, so we have found some volunteers, but if we can't do this with volunteers, I can't justify using paid staff on an ongoing basis to support this program. It's just, I'm trying to protect the staff, to give them adequate time to do the responsibilities that they have. So I'm working on that.
Well, I go to the Catholic Church. Now, there's never been anything in the bulletins about looking for any volunteers.
I would
this
love it if you
program.
would follow up on that, because we contacted them and said that they told us that they have no volunteers. So we have found 2 volunteers to help us with it, but like when they're out, we won't have anybody. So in those weeks, we won't be doing it.
Okay.
And I feel comfortable doing, we have a food distribution program that's really comprehensive and that takes a lot of volunteer, one Friday a month, where we are getting food from the family pantry.
Right.
This is a lunch program, and I'm not saying it's not important, but it started as a community program and it feels very much like it's becoming a COA program, but we have a lunch program. So I feel like, yeah, I don't have resources to support it more than through volunteers.
Okay.
So
I'll see what I can find out.
I'd love that. Thank you. So call me if you learn anything. I appreciate that. And that's about all the new stuff to report. I sent you an email. I mean, the biggest announcement that I have is about, the retirement of, my assistant, Donna, is retiring. She is leaving. Her last day officially, I believe, as of right now, is tentatively May 1st. I just learned literally 3 minutes before the meeting started that the job has been posted internally. I do believe we have internal candidates, and if we can move quickly, we will have some time for cross-training, which I would be really thrilled about.
When you mean internally, it's just within here?
No,
or
when something's
With-
posted internally, it's internal to the town.
Into,
Yes.
to the town.
Yeah, so anybody who is qualified within the town.
Wanted to add to that, which practice we've had for posting has been that it's posted broadly generally to both internal and the public.
Yep.
Per contracts, though, internal folks are given preference. So just to be clear, it's also.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, all right.
It
Yeah,
doesn't change our timeline.
Yep.
It's just
yeah,
how we've been doing it.
yeah. It sounds like a long time she's been generous with her notice. I mean, she definitely has been generous with her notice, but she has monthly tasks. So having somebody to be able to start doing those monthly tasks with her would be really beneficial to our operations.
So you would have somebody replace her and do her same job?
Hopefully, I mean, there's a learning curve, so nobody's gonna step into somebody who's been on the job for 10+ years and do it all. But yeah, that would be my hope.
Well, our
I'm an
discussion
optimist.
before would be if we get an assistant director, a lot of what Dawn, it's like her job should be split in half. What she was doing, half of it was one thing. And so I didn't know if you'd take this opportunity to redo her job.
Mark and I haven't even discussed this. My goal would be that we just fill the position right
Because you
now
need it.
because it's integral to our operations. And
Okay.
that we are already starting the transition, we've already started discussions about the new position and looking at the delineation of responsibilities. And certainly if there's like low hanging fruit in there that we can address,
Okay.
we would do that. But that, I mean, that Mark's gonna talk about the budget, but
Okay.
because that is not now, but I need responsibilities covered now, that will become part of what we'll have to work through, but Mark may feel differently.
We haven't talked about that, but that's what we're doing, which is, we're posting the job as it is, because otherwise there's moving implications about changing the job description, and so for the sake of time, we posted the job as is. We're going through the classification study right now, so there's already work being done about job descriptions, so it'll give us time to really hash out what exactly the position is is going to be doing based on needs.
And it's this fiscal year. You've got the salary dedicated from this fiscal year, even if
Yeah.
it's just 2 months
Yeah.
left.
Yeah,
And I think, I know that the committee talked about hiring that assistant council on aging director, and one of the goals was to add to the staff. So we wouldn't want to lose staff.
Right.
No, I know, there would still be 2 positions,
Right.
yes.
yeah. I mean, I'm assuming I'm gonna have to pick up some things just because of learning curve. Yeah, we are looking at that. Mark and Denise from HR and I have had an initial meeting about this. Kim has asked us to really start looking at this and kind of defining it a little bit better. So we're working on it. Hope to have a little bit more time to work on it.
Do you know if Donna's moving away, or is she gonna still be maybe available after May 1st for
Good idea.
training or, you know?
As a consultant.
Yeah, I
send
don't.
her for training or
Well, I
phone
know,
calls, you know, whatever.
For the health, did it?
yeah. Would she be available? Yes, but there has to be a break in service. That's
Yeah, of
part of
course.
the problem. And once somebody starts collecting retirement, like, yeah, it's complicated.
Okay.
So, we need to get as much as we can get done prior to May 1st.
Mhm.
I think that is my.
Madam Chair, can I go back on one question to that?
Yeah, sure.
In the metrics, the one that were in metrics, is the number of individuals served 562, and this was with a week of closure, but is that,
Yeah.
I guess, what's the highest?
Oh, for mine?
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's consistently in that neighborhood.
I was feeling
Yeah.
like 400 or something,
Yeah.
at 562, that's why I was
Yeah.
asking if this
It's
was.
kind of, I was kind of surprised that it's higher than January. Cause we picked up somewhere in the neighborhood of like 60 new people that weren't here in January.
Is it the,
Yeah.
the Tuesday sessions?
It could be Tuesdays, it could be some of the one-time only programs that we have, but I will tell you what's very popular and is bringing a lot of new people in is the digital equity, the digital literacy classes. Bringing a lot of people
I'm thinking
in.
about going.
Yeah, we have a really great young man teaching those classes. He's fantastic and, yeah, and people are really responding well, to that program. So I think that's brought in a lot, and we did have a program in February, so. I guess is that's.
Yeah, I think there's something that happens as you age and you go, okay, they've upgraded again, I think I can do it, yeah, okay, I got it. And then, but at some point you say, yeah, forget it. This is it, I'm not going anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you have to keep learning though, because the technology change, I mean, it is one of those things. I mean, part of what we see is that we do see people abandon the technology at some point, and it's a hard
I'm getting ready to
say out loud, but
throw
we
off
really do
portals.
see that. We just see people say, done.
I'm through with portals.
But it's really hard, but it's getting increasingly difficult to walk away from technology because everything relies on it.
Okay, thank you. We can move into new business. Judy, discussion regarding primary care services from Mark.
So I don't have much to report, but Mark asked me to bring this forward to the board. He sent me, I wrote at the top of this, that this is something that was developed with the use of AI. I had to kind of copy and paste and format it because I couldn't print it from the document that he sent me. But this is, and I sent this back to him to make sure that he was comfortable with how I had formatted it, and he said, yes, but that's why it looks a little funky in places, there's boxes around words or, and I did say to him, I'm not sure that this particular issue falls under the board's responsibility. He is a real advocate for older adults. I will speak to you in terms of Cape Cod Healthcare is very aware of this. I mean, everybody who lives here is very aware of the primary care physician shortage. It's a major problem. I mean, we have had doctors move in. There have been some underserved practices, particularly neurology, and rheumatology, and some of the practices that serve older adults. And there was an influx, I think, of 3 rheumatologists, and 2 of them have already left the Cape. Within a 5-year time frame. Orthopedics, I think some of the same things have happened. But I don't know. This is a big issue other than supporting the work that's being done. I don't know. This is your decision. I'm bringing it forward at his request. To see if this is something, you know, you want to get more involved in. But he kind of broke this down. This is not my document. This was Mark's. Mark, if you remember, is the Orleans representative to the Board of Elder Services, which is the area agency on aging, the federally funded agency for aging in our area and the state funded agency in our area, in our region. So I'm happy to answer questions if I can, but he was the genesis of this information.
So what is his specific ask?
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I've, you know, lived with this issue, in my professional career for, you know, all the time I've worked on the Cape. And I am well aware that our Cape Health Services and Cape Cod Healthcare is, you know, painfully aware of it as well and actively working. You know, it would seem to me that certainly anything that we can do, to lend a voice or support to any initiatives that are going on or to participate in, you know, assisting in gathering information if they're doing anything along those lines. You know, everything that I see here, I certainly agree with, or I know is already in action and happening. You know, I certainly, you know, agree with these and know that it is a huge issue. And any of us who've, you know, gotten the letter from our own primary care physicians that they're retiring and, you know, go find a doc. I've been on a waiting list for 6 months, 8 months myself.
The other thing that happened that I think kind of stepped up the attention to this issue is that a lot of people from Orleans, used to go to Brewster Medical. And Brewster Medical dropped one of the insurances that a lot of older adults use for their Medicare supplement. They dropped the Tufts plan. So that was a major issue and it was done, I believe, like the last day, or the last couple of days of the open enrollment period, that they would no longer take patients. I think at the end of this, he says convene an Orleans primary care task force. My only concern is this is not just an aging issue. This is more of a healthcare issue and this is a big issue. So I mean, I'm not opposed to supporting something. I'm just not sure that we have the bandwidth to take the leadership role on this issue.
Well, nor the expertise, right?
And I
So,
would like to comment as somebody who was a co-owner of a private medical practice that was then absorbed by Cape Cod Healthcare. Primary care physicians individually lose. I mean, when we got absorbed, it was $150,000 a year because the services reimbursement, and that was in years ago. So the other question that Mark didn't address is the survival of community hospitals. And they go hand in hand. So how do we afford to keep our health services? Cape Cod Healthcare has been trying to recruit primary care, all disciplines for at least a decade. Orleans Medical did a search for 4 years solid and could not recruit anyone. And in terms of town government, as a select board member, I would say this is way out of our purview. Because we can support statewide efforts, but this is also the distribution of funding of community hospitals and what they're empowered to do. And the reimbursement schedules for primary care are way out of our hands.
But if we could help in some way, if the town or parts of the town could help by saying, yes, when we have foot care, you know, a certain amount of time, or we could, you know, make a space available to have somebody come. Maybe we could notices for that's available or childcare, or, you know, be a liaison and say, yeah, you know, let's have this where we can, you know, there's someplace you can come to for resources. You know, to help out, we don't have to run it, because we can't, and it's the same problem with that Medicare program, you know, but we could say, yeah, this is a need, you know, this is a good idea. Let's see what we can do to help, you know, not just the senior center, but the town. I think it'd be really great.
Cape Coast, which is the Council on Aging Directors on the Cape, meets, Cape Cod Healthcare is one of our community partners, and we meet with them annually, and we have put on that request. We often will submit items, and we have asked for an update on recruitment of
That'd be good.
new positions, so.
And also, I think this is tailor-made for like the Chamber of Commerce and another group in town, Rotary. Definitely, you know, because those are places with lots of connections. And I think, that's something I think that especially a chamber could really put some muscle behind it. Because they have people who have housing and have space and et cetera, where we do not. I don't think ours does. No,
But you're talking about the Cape Cod Chamber?
no, local chambers too.
Local? I don't think she would.
Think of Yarmouth, for example, because then you have I can't remember the names of the people who have all the condominiums, the Davenports. So they know where everything is and how much, where there would be housing or a place that's not being used or a vacant building. And I think our chamber would know that too, looking around town.
But honestly, that's,
pop-up, you could make
that is only part of the issue.
Yeah,
The advancement, the age of the population,
Right.
if young physicians come and they've got families. There are lots of issues. We lose firefighter and police here because, you know, the cost of housing is so different than Western Massachusetts. So they can get a house on the lake for what they can get a condo here. I mean, that's truly what happened. So it's happening at the firefighters level. Can you imagine? I just know my ex-husband was astounded at the pay scale that was being offered after being a physician for 20 years to lure brand new physicians out here. I mean,
Still
it's
even-
quality of life issues as well as, and the kind of practice. You have to be a gerontology special, you have to want to do that work to be out here.
could be out here.
Yeah, you're not gonna get, it's still a rural practice. So that's part
I
of
think
the
that
issue.
getting a community involved is a big assist. And
I feel
churches.
Judy has so much on her plate right now that this is something that, again, we can support if somebody else wants to take charge of it and we could be part of it. But I don't think you have the resources right now or the time to do much with this.
As a department, I think it's an important issue. I mean, as a COA director, I'm working it through the channels that we have. I'm working through, like I said, we meet with Cape Cod Healthcare. I specifically had asked to have this issue addressed during that meeting. This is a regional issue, and it impacts all of us. It's a healthcare issue. this is a biggie. Yeah, this is not something that we can take on, but,
We can say,
you know,
good idea,
yeah, I mean, could we?
keep us informed.
Right, yeah, can we communicate, a letter of concern, can we? Yeah, I mean, there are smaller actions, but taking it on, I don't think we can do, the whole thing, for sure.
Mark, I thought it was a great description. Lots of detail. I love the detail in it.
Funding.
And the idea of the community, calling on the community to help, not just usual places. A lot of good ideas, and something like this, it takes all of this to put something together, but I agree, it's not in our purview. We can say, great idea.
All right, I think we have some direction for our liaison or our representatives for this, so. Okay, we can move into old business and Mark, you are us. Thank you for being here. CUI budget,
Join you at the table.
sure.
Kind of confusing. 3 marks have been referenced and I'm trying to figure out who's small.
Mark R.
Last conversation was not me. I can tell you that.
I must really.
You don't want to take on the federal
Not me.
position shortage issue?
So just wanted to, Judy asked me to come and just talk to you a bit about the FY27 proposed budget. So I handed out before the meeting, just the COA budget you have before you. Can't put one on your. In front of you, so if you don't.
So specifically, I think everyone's interested in seeing where the funding for, as some of you may know, we had a conversation with the select board about the funding of a new assistant director position. Kim Newman, the town manager, had been at your last meeting to have a conversation with you all about what our thoughts were for the direction for that role. And ultimately, with the select board, decided to include it in the budget, and it will be an override.
Just like second copy?
No, this is the same document.
Oh, she needs this.
Oh, yes, same here. Oh, yeah. So at this, on the page 1 of 2, you can see Orleans Managers Union Assistance line. That is where the funding is for the salary, potential salary of an assistant director. That's funded at about midway through the grade. So not saying that that will be the salary, but wanted to make sure that we had enough funding in the line to, you know, if we find someone highly qualified that is really attractive, want to be able to offer them an attractive salary. And so that's where that number came from. The other ancillary costs are within the budget in other places, but the total that the override will be proposed that is $139,789. That includes the 107,140 for the salary, insurance at $30,014, Social Security and Medicare at $1,554, and then other related costs to the contracts that
Can you
exist.
repeat the total one?
$139,789.
And that's all reflected in the various accounts on this page?
It is not, it is only the salary in the COA budget.
Okay. So that's like insurance is in another budget?
It's in another budget line, yes.
Is that going to be its own warrant article?
No, it will be displayed as a contingent appropriation, just like last year's budget. You would have seen the total appropriation, and then it will reference certain amounts that are contingent upon the passage of a ballot question. So you'll see it on the ballot of the annual town meeting or the annual town election ballot. It has to pass there. Once it passes at the ballot box, then it's an appropriation.
But is this going to be the only override in the whole project?
Probably not.
As far as we know,
No.
that won't be the only one.
It will not be the only one.
I believe, well, in terms of operational pieces, as of this moment, it's the only operational component, which is an override in perpetuity.
That's both of the projects.
Right, there's the debt exclusions that are for projects that.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay. All right,
okay,
well, I think it's great that you sort of forced them to reconsider. Did you go to them? Was that at the select
As you
board
remember, it
meeting
was-
that night?
It was a committee project, and I did go to the meeting that night, but I just spoke at the in the citizens speak, and later on during warrant articles, I just watched this last night, and they took it up during warrant articles and talked about it in this, and it was the unanimous unanimous decision by the selectmen to do a lot of things, put it in the budget, put it in the budget, have this town meeting, not wait until the fall, and budget town meeting, there's something else, I can't remember. But yeah, it got done. A lot of people helped.
Thank you.
Andrea helped.
Yes, thank you.
There
I
was
think
a
it's
great,
important to note that we've been on board with this.
Yeah.
It's not a, you know, and we were looking to.
Have the budget.
No, because we weren't looking to have an override to fund this. We, you know, taxpayers are,
you know, they didn't want to hire any extra personnel, to new personnel, you know, it's conservative times, things are happening.
Right,
So the point was made that this was something that had been in the work for 2 years, and I think that was from Andrea, and then the question of timing was addressed by our chair, and, you know, it was decided that, of course, how can you advertise for a job that doesn't exist yet? So,
right.
get that done, get the money available. So a lot of things sort of came together. Good.
Another-
And there's some references to the need for this, just in, now we've seen the growth ourselves. Here and it's amazing, and I think it's a growing, that's what I'm, most aware of. That the need for services is growing.
So Judy and I and HR are working together to identify the essential functions of what this role will be providing, what Judy will then pick up more of. I'm sure she has a list very long of the things that she'd like to be able to focus on, that this role will allow her to then shift at that time to. So really starting to dig into those pieces.
If I may, Chair, one of the reasons we were so much in favor of that, and very selfishly, is that we have a list of other things we want her to do. And there's, one of them is in the, one is in the comprehensive plan that's being proposed, which is a needs assessment. We feel we are planning for an unknown future right now. We need to know what exists. I don't know when the last time was that this department did that, or even any analysis of the town by age and socioeconomic conditions, et cetera. So that's important. We also want her to look at council on agings in the future, where they're going. This is, again, these are all in our stated goals for the year, which is available. But it's councils on aging, separate or together, community, and who else is in the community in these buildings, and how's it working out? We've got several places around the Cape that have done it different ways. And this is already a community center. We have recreation here, we have food, we have digital literacy. And then I can't remember, there's a couple other goals. Help me out here, anybody? So I think, I know, space. A little cramp for space here. I was pleased, correct me if I'm wrong, but I see there's 200,000 for a new roof for this building. I think that's really great.
And the facilities conditions assessment is underway, and I think they may have visited already.
They did.
Yeah, and so that is every building and facility that the town owns is being cataloged and reviewed, and we'll be able to build a real clear picture of the projects with the priorities and when, equipment needs to be replaced, windows, roofs, all of those components.
Yeah.
Really putting it on a schedule so that it's clear for everyone. So,
Really pleased with, and space, we're aware of how many times the meeting room, the big room changes in the course of the day. I mean, it's incredible when there wasn't I hear about these things from other people to see. When there wasn't a day, guy who moves things, what is that? Custodian, thank you. The staff would come and there'd be like a parade down to go and move and set up for the next activity, take it down and put it up, and then they'd parade back, so the people here going, what's going on? I mean, these things become obvious.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
yeah, space is a problem. I thought about, a second floor here, maybe, and where to get parking, and maybe if there's a problem with access via the road from flooding a couple times every 10 years, maybe there's a way to get another access to Rock Harbor. Look around and see what's available. So these are all things that we haven't had time to do. We just make lists.
Yeah.
Long list.
A little helport, right, so you get in.
Yeah, we just
when
build
the road
a
is up, so.
parking garage. That could be one.
That would be good. It doesn't have to be above ground though, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Fire first.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So I don't think she'll have trouble keeping busy. I mean, she's busy on her
We have
own.
no doubt.
Yeah, but to your point, Susan, it will allow me to focus less time on day to day.
Right.
And more
Menu
time, more time on
That's right. What's
management.
for lunch on Tuesday?
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's really where, when there is somebody who can truly be invested in, their time invested in an assistant director, not also being a bookkeeper or office manager, that you won't have to be involved in the minutia of operations, and you can be looking more, wholly at the operations here and strategically looking at, you know, where we're moving forward. So that'll make a huge difference in your life, for sure. Yeah, it will, it will. Okay, and so just procedurally, in regard to citizens petition, I guess we'll talk about that tonight with select board. We're meeting at 6:30 tonight.
Yeah, then the time is flexible depending on everything else that happens.
Okay,
So eat dinner before you come.
What is the intent to discuss? What are you looking to?
We were asked.
We were
there
asked to
by
be there.
Molly Bates.
Molly asked us
Okay,
to be
yeah,
there tonight.
because,
But you're withdrawing your petition.
No,
Legally
Did you
can't.
put it in the budget?
it's, the request is in the budget, but
Yeah.
petition, once submitted, from what I read today, has to go in the budget. I mean, it has to go in the.
It has to go in the warrant.
Yeah, the reason why you were invited was because Tim Coonahan was also invited, and so. we
Did
wanted to
you
make
feel
sure-
that?
Well, we wanted to make sure that you both were invited, but there's a lot more.
Well, let me talk
Questions
before
on-
him, because he goes on and on and on.
Yeah. But, you know,
He was really, I listened to him at the finance committee, it was great.
so, I would just say that I'm not, I mean, you'll be able to speak to it, but I think your issue has been resolved, so. it's fine.
So it'll be there, but then it won't be addressed. Or it can be
That's, you
somehow.
have to discuss it.
She's,
I mean, it's the, so,
I'll see
legal
what I
counsel
asked
has
them.
given them some direction about
Yeah.
how to handle it, from the floor. So that's what we'll get the details on that tonight.
Yes, I was interested to read, because I had heard that, you know, preliminarily. Decision was it wasn't in order, but.
well, would you like me to read, so you're aware of what council said
Sure,
before tonight? And I can send this to you as well. So,
no good,
uh,
because that forced me to go read more things about. Than I wanted to about petitions and who helps put them in order for petitioners, and Brewster has a whole description about getting help from the town manager or town administrator.
Mhm.
And all of that, so, and then I didn't know that it had to go into the warrant still, which is fine with me, because it gives us a chance to, if that happens, you know, see what happens tonight. Gives a chance for us to get up and say, you know, this is already taken care of, assuming that the budget passed, and but now. That's only a part of solving the problem. We need you to help solve the problem by going to the town election and passing it.
Mhm.
So that's,
yes.
I don't mind having that opportunity at all.
So let me read to you, and then I can forward this along to you as well. Under this citizen petition, the article is one of, quote, doubtful legality for multiple reasons, and thus can be ruled out of order by the moderator. A, town meeting does not have the authority to create a new position within the town. That authority lies with the town manager under chapter 4 of the charter. Section 431, the town manager is the chief administrative officer of the town and is responsible for administering and coordinating all employees' activities and departments under the control of the select board and the town manager. Under section 441 and 442, the town manager is responsible for appointments of all positions, and under 461 is responsible for administrative reorganization of all departments, which includes creating new positions. The town manager is also responsible for day-to-day administration of town's personnel. In most town meetings, discussion could be informative to its position on the need for such a position, but has no legal authority to create a position. B, that was A, all of that was A. B, the article does not have a funding source for the requested appropriation, and town meeting does not have the authority to call for an override. That authority lies with the select board. So that was the opinion on that.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, again,
I think that's what, how I took it to, at the end of the day. And I'm not a lawyer, but based on my limited reading, and I think this is just if the law allows, and the Constitution allows, I think, of Massachusetts petitions.
Mhm.
The idea is to get an issue that won't or hasn't gone by the administration of a town or the select board of the town. It's a way to get something into town, in before town meeting. And it defeats the purpose if somebody says this isn't legally in order. And I suspect that's why there's a law that requires it to be published in the warrant, even if it's deemed not legal.
Yes,
I
but
would
home rule
question.
charter is very strong, and so it's really your constitution as a
Right.
community.
Yeah.
And so when it lays out the authorities and in your charter, town meeting as a body can't necessarily override the authorities and powers of the executive. So that's where those components come into play. And it varies from town to town, charter to charter, depending on where you are too, so.
I think there are some basic things, and one is that it has to go before voters. And it's the town's option, apparently, from what I've read so far, to decide how much to participate. Some towns, Orleans in the past has just routinely sent it to town, to council to put it into shape to go into town meeting. With the idea of getting an issue of value before voters. If that doesn't happen, then that's a surprise. But other towns do. Brewster routinely does. There's much more description of what petitioners should do there.
So Susan, my firsthand knowledge of the process when our previous council was around was that he would sit down and review
Right,
the mechanics of something,
exactly.
but the town cannot interfere with the content of a petition.
Totally.
And so I think what the select board has been very concerned with is that we provide that same service on the mechanics, and that's why he was sent for review
Mhm.
without interfering with the content. And I think one of the things that this is pointing out is if the public or any interested party wanted to get a position added, like REC did, REC went through a multi-year process with the town administrator,
Mhm.
as opposed to doing it on the floor of town meeting.
Right.
And so we're just looking at all of us being educated about pathways to success, whatever the advocacy action is.
In that case, the rec case, the idea, the position had the support of the administration and the selectmen, I assume.
Not
That
originally.
hasn't happened in our case at all,
Well,
this case.
but think about it, the run up to that
Until now.
assistant director.
Sorry.
Okay. I was like, oh.
You get that assistant director position
Right.
in recreation.
Yeah,
And it didn't go to town hall meeting except as an additional position in
Yeah.
a budget.
Mhm.
So this is a different routing. You chose a different process to make a point, and this is where we are.
sure. Yes. So, and at this stage, I would welcome, any help from, the town council to put things, so that there's still the goal of, reaching the goal, which is just hiring a, council on aging assistant director. And I
It's
think
already there.
underway there, so.
Yeah.
But if, so fine. In a perfect world, I would like to have that help and put the petition in some kind of legal order that's acceptable, so that it would be in the warrant as backup if something happened to the budget or the budget
We can't.
proposal.
You can't
You can't change language because the petitioners, beyond just you, have signed language that
True.
they intend, so. Whatever language is submitted is what has to be.
Well, you have to change something on the floor.
Yes, there
But
can be a motion to change the
the
floor.
whole question for me when I saw this was, if the town charter says that deciding on positions is in the purview of the town manager and not the purview of the public meeting body, then that is a big concern, because it's the same, the select board doesn't tell the town manager what to do. You can make your case and you can plead, you use the channels appropriate to the authority that is supposed to do that job. And so whether this is appropriate for a town meeting process or as opposed to a petition that is a non-actionable, we get all the time, we endorse the power plant being shut down, and that would be a different actionable item.
Good point.
And town council cannot work with you because it's a citizen's petition further than this review.
Mhm.
Because that would be a conflict of interest for the town.
Okay. just because I'm obstinate, but, I do think this would be an interesting test case about how a petition is handled in a town. But it becomes a moot point because, this has been accepted and it's going forward, and I think that's a great thing. Well, that's how I feel. Yeah,
Well, and I think it's something for a select board to consider for the future, right? Is there some benefit in providing, other random times of just, there being general, education provided to the public about the mechanics?
Of a citizen specific.
Exactly.
petition, absolutely.
Yeah.
and this only, persisted because finally, it wasn't in this year's budget. Said, well, maybe, in the fall. So that's what prompted the petition. And I'm very happy with how we ended up, and I'm really glad you're here. Thank you for coming
Thank you for your,
all the way out here to Rock Harbor.
all the way. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
And I'm sure you made some really good explanations today, so I appreciate it.
Always reach out with any questions.
Thanks. All right, our final piece, under our old business is, any updates from our multi-member body committees. I have some notes, but if anybody has anything from any of the meetings that you either attended or watched, if you want to share those, and then I can jump in with what I have. Susan, you have some notes?
I watched the finance committee meeting for March 12th. And I have to say this, recommend this to anybody who's interested in town finances because it's fascinating. They go into debt service. And oh my God, what do you hear? The town has already $183 million approved in debt. That includes 70 million not borrowed yet. And so the town still has 152 million left to borrow. And coincidentally, at the same meeting, the new estimate for the fire station came in for 59 million. And I'm going, 52 by 69. So it's serious stuff here. Fascinating, just fascinating to listen to. And we talked about capital plans. And one reason I was concerned about whether the budget gets passed or not, because you probably remember, his first name was Stuart. He spoke at a town meeting and spoke so eloquently that the voters didn't pass the capital plan for that year. Do you remember that?
Are you talking about when Josh started?
No,
Another guy named Stuart?
first name Stuart.
This last fiscal, this past year?
No, it was a long time ago.
I remember not long ago, maybe
15 years ago, maybe 20.
Oh.
So there was no capital plan. And it was like, what?
But then that happened just recently.
It happened last one, but then they
Yeah,
something,
they-
then you had
rerouted it, yes.
revote, yeah.
That was interesting. Anyway, so you just never know at town meeting. And then the fire station has now been decided, it's gonna come up at the town meeting. It was a little question, I think, for a while. And 59 million, they're gonna be looking for money for design of a 2-story building, not a 3-story building. And there is one issue, they'll need to get a variance because it'll be too close to a lot line. And then they went into a very interesting description about the residential tax exemption, which gives a break to year-round residents in their taxes, real estate taxes. And in that, we learned that 1/2 of the town's population are permanent and 1/2 are summer. So
I'm surprised.
I recommend it. They should post it and say, this is really good. Your finances. Ask us questions. Just read this.
I'm surprised it's 50-50.
It's-
I
it is
always
surprising.
assumed that there were a lot more partial.
It is, it's fascinating.
Swelled by more than
Well,
50%.
you only have to live here 6 months minus a day to be year round.
Good point.
It doesn't mean that they're here year round, but this is their primary residence.
And she is somewhere between 49% and 52. Well, I've lived here, which is almost 30 years.
Hmm.
It's been stable.
I would highly recommend that folks go to the assessing department page.
Mhm.
On the left-hand column, there's a option for residential tax exemption, and presentations have been made from staff and they're really informative of the issue. So if anyone's interested in that.
I also want to, just in part of our education as residents, is that we take on new debt. We're capped by state law about how much debt we can take on,
Yes,
and other debt drops off. And our
Oh, good
job
point,
is to
drops
keep that debt very manageable and predictable for us as taxpayers.
yeah. So fascinating.
Yeah,
So thank you for suggesting this.
Yeah, so there are a bunch of joint public hearings coming up as well, for, the operating budget, still coming up the 26th of this month, April 2nd, 9th, and 23rd. So, more opportunity for input there. I just want to give you a update from Chair's monthly meeting. I was not there, I was away. Mark was unable to, Mark was also unavailable. But few notes from Molly, which I appreciate. Target date for Eldridge Park renovation will be after Firebirds wrap up, so that's late August, early September. They did receive the free cash certification update, bringing the state amount up to 4.26 million. So the select board will be reviewing all of the committee charters starting May, June. So I know we had talked about that before. We had submitted our charge a number of months ago, so that will be coming up for review. And a couple of follow-up questions that Kevin is taking a look at. Is OpenGov up and going yet?
We are very close. We're just finishing the table of contents so everyone can navigate it. But it'll be up and ready for
Sure.
folks, especially after we're still managing to keep the
Tweak.
budget as we need to in these final days. I mean, the school has just given us their number, so once that's settled, I think it will be good to have it done and up that way.
Yeah,
Denise, did they address the comp plan at the chairs meeting?
No.
So so you're aware, the comprehensive plan, which had not been updated since 2006, and there's robust recommendations in terms of quality of life issues and investment in our social strata, as well as facilities and coastal resilience, because many of us are aware that during storms, it's sometimes hard to access this as a site. We need it for emergency operations. Anyway, you might want to, the most recent draft is online on the planning board site, and then there will be open meetings about that because we will be asked to vote on it at town meeting to adopt it.
so you guys heard that last night, I guess.
Yes, planning board is like met.
Great. Yeah, so that is available online as well,
It's
the
good read.
presentation, yeah.
I did read it.
Let's see, anything else that anybody?
Well, I started looking at the economic development
Mhm.
committee, and I didn't get through the whole thing, but tomorrow night, there's a citizens forum, and the topic is economic development. And but I don't know where the citizens forum is. Is it here?
It's
No.
at the CCTV, it's at the on Namsgate Road.
Oh, okay.
But it's also on Zoom, it starts at 5:30, and Amanda is one of the speakers as well as the director of the Cape Cod
Right.
Chamber.
Right.
So we'll be going over all the branding information. There's a great PowerPoint already up. So, and that sounds like you've talked a lot about that. That's particularly what I was looking at is, for those departments that kind of already have their own branding, how is that gonna be, combined, or is it you're gonna have to make changes? And it looks as if that's not the case, right? That here, police department, they'll still have their branding, and then kind of at the bottom will be the new branding for the town, so that they
Oh,
are, are both available, so.
Well, the Economic Development Committee is also in the midst of, there's a group in looking at district improvement financing to figure out how to help the village center and not have all our money spent on low-income housing, but have to be aware of other projects that should be going on through town. But this is looking somehow to do work, but without really raising taxes.
It's public space investment. So that
They're
group
trying
is
to
that,
get more, private people to invest in the town.
it's also a group that looks at prioritizing public space improvement. There used to be a streetscape group in the
Right.
town that served a similar role, but now it's to advocate for pocket parks and dressing up things, and it's in companionship with the small grants that business owners can get to facelift or reinvest in their own businesses, whether or not they own the property. So, but this is made of joint boards and committees that are looking on town-owned space. That's it's very important. It's public money that's going back into publicly owned spaces.
So that's as far as I got.
Yeah, I did have the opportunity to look at that as well. They just got a technical assistance grant, so they're gonna be looking at a feasibility study. That's kind of their next step, so. So thank you for that. And just the last one I'll share, because the one that's vacant is affordable housing. So Elizabeth did go through, all of the current, fair is fully leased and up and going. Governor Prince, which everybody's been eager and anxious to hear what's going on there, that they are finally ready to go for the demolition phase. So they're working on their RFP for that, or the RFP has been finalized for demo. So they're hoping that we will actually start to see some demo potentially by, late spring, early summer, underway there. So that will be good. 44 Main, they're just doing some final connections over there. I was not aware of Old Tote Road, 4 units there that are happening as well.
It's very new.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I guess staff here might want to be aware of is this HEC, which is the Harwich Ecumenical Council. They have a housing emergency loan program that she was talking about. It's a no interest loan for emergencies. Somebody's boiler or something, roof, something significant. So, I think particularly your team, they're already aware of it. Okay, so.
I thought Lower Cape Outreach does that too, I believe.
Lower Cape Outreach will help pay a bill, but this program is for some of the bigger things, like for instance,
somewhere between 10.
yeah, somebody who ended up with a hole in their roof type of thing, and it's like a no interest type of
Yeah.
situation, so really helpful. We had somebody who took advantage of it when they needed some home modifications after their mobility changed.
Yeah. So it sounds like before Elizabeth was here that kind of sat fallow for a while, but that she's, been, that's been regenerated so I just wanted to be sure that the team here was aware that if they get any referrals from somebody who has a need, that we know to be referring them over there. And I think that is it since our last meeting.
I did attend
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
I not attended, but I watched the recreational committee on March 19th.
Oh, I missed that.
Video.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and you sort of covered the of part. What they mentioned is that they have picked Weston and Sampson for I gather planning
Mhm.
$219,000, and when they're done with that, they're going to have an open meeting for everybody to see the plan. And they're looking at, as you mentioned, the sort of late August,
Mhm.
beginning of September sort of timeframe for finishing, weather permitting and everything like that.
Right,
Um, and, yeah, I mean, they went over things like their budget and activities and things like that. There was a lot of stuff, I didn't know about, but I guess it's mostly for kids. They do pickleball and ecological gardening, softball, hockey, winter yoga, basketball, bowling, Easter egg hunt. Um, they did something which I wasn't sure. They said they do highlight like one local business, and I think they might have some sort of lecture or something, or attend, something like that. So I was watching on video, so couldn't ask questions, but that looked a little interesting that they did pick a local business and do something with them. So I'm not sure what they did, but that was sort of an interesting thing. So anyway,
okay, anything else?
Friends don't have a report.
Nope, just out of, a public comment, if there's a report that will be
Okay.
made during public comment.
Could I add two things? One,
Yes.
I think you told me, that the board of your group voted in favor of the position.
Yes.
Okay. That's good to get on the record. And, also I wanted to see if one could also, pass around the job of taking minutes.
When, can I speak to that? When the staffing issue is resolved here, whoever is in that position will come back and do minutes. It just didn't seem appropriate, right now, to have the way the conversations have been going. Yeah, John and you doing minutes.
You know, I thought maybe we could take turns.
Well,
doing
you
it.
can. You're welcome. You are welcome to do it.
Thought I would-
well, does Owl have the capability of taking minutes like
Yeah,
she
But
does?
You do, you're the expert. Oh,
No,
you're good at
no.
AI, so you can. take the-
No, this was not,
Change it
this
to
was
minutes.
wrong mark. That was not me.
Oh, that wasn't you?
No,
I thought it was you.
yeah, Mark.
Well,
Yeah.
The finance committee talks
See if
about
we
this
can
all the
do
time
that.
about one of them doing the minutes and then using AI to put it into a minute form.
Well, like Zoom you can turn on a transcript and.
Yeah,
But minutes and transcripts are very different.
Oh, yeah, need a lot of editing, a lot of editing.
Judy, you had mentioned in your report that you won't be here next month.
I just.
Thank you, yeah.
And I will not be here next month, I know.
This is what date is it?
So let's take a look at, a new date. This was, Wednesday, April 22nd. Judy's not available. Do we want to push back a week to the 29th?
I have no space available that day.
Okay.
I'm away.
Is that just the day that you're out, or is that your? or
It's just a
is-
day, it's a medical appointment.
Okay.
My husband and I have been waiting for 5 months.
Well,
It's
yeah.
important.
Yeah.
So possibility of day before, day after?
Day after doesn't work for me because I'm going to Vienna.
I'm
weeks.
not
Okay.
here that
Thank
week.
you.
I'm away.
You're away that week.
how about the 28th?
Well, I'm also away, but how about the week before?
That's when Susan said she's away.
I'm away.
Oh, you're away.
Oh,
Okay.
it's
So you need four, right?
You have to have 4 people.
Four. So what about the 21st then? That's before you go away, right? You're not available, but are the 4 of us available on the 21st?
21st,
Is that the day
Tuesday.
before, Tuesday?
Tuesday, it's Tuesday. Yeah, that works.
Do you need more time, Judy, to get ready for your appointment?
I mean, I had targeted that as a day off, but I can be flexible with it.
Or Monday?
We're closed Monday.
Right.
It's Patriots Day.
No,
And we said 23rd did not work. You're leaving that day.
I'm flying away.
Got
you're
it.
not.
Okay.
Just you and me, Bill, we're just gonna.
We'll still be, we'll have 2 people away.
So
How do we feel about skipping a meeting?
About what, skipping a meeting?
We had 2 this month.
Yeah,
So when's your May meeting scheduled?
Our May meeting is the 27th, May 27th, after town meeting.
and
The only thing is, I mean, do you need to talk about anything before the town meeting? Yeah, I mean, as a board.
you know, we'll have that budget item that we'll wanna get help for and how to do that and, I don't know, since
The
it's,
budget is just the budget. There's no separate vote on the position at all.
right, good.
Just
Yeah,
simply
the people are gonna vote on the budget period, yeah.
Well, we could probably handle it if we had to be, someone's gonna have to adjourn the petition on it. Well, but I'm sure anybody can do that. But then again, it was a time to have a chance to say, okay, now you've, in the budget, you've done this, but please, this is dependent on passage of this at the election. So someone needs to say that, I think. That'd be good.
I'm not sure what you're,
After the budget is approved, and if this position is in it, then there should still be the petition article printed in the warrant. Right? And so that needs to be taken
Something will
care of.
have to happen, they'll have to say.
they'll take care of that on the floor, so I think
Yes.
you're gonna hear the details.
But I'm saying it may be, that might be a good opportunity, and perhaps our only opportunity, since there's no discussion, to say, please vote for this at the town election coming up next Tuesday. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it will be, please vote for the entire budget.
Yes, but after that, the next article will be the petition
For the
article
override.
for the override.
I think that you should make that comment in the budget article and not under the citizen petition, because there's procedural issues. And we can,
Okay, whatever, whenever,
But I
it's fine with me.
I think it makes sense to, because it's related to the budget article, so you want to make a statement then about supporting that.
So we can do the 20.
But it's not, I don't know that you're having it come from the COA board, or if it's just
Yeah.
the members getting up there. And requesting. support.
Exactly. That's all, that's.
Not if you're gonna take the day.
The town meeting is the 4th or the 11th.
11.
Okay. But I mean, that's just one person bringing that up and just saying, don't forget to vote for this at the next election.
Following Mondays, yeah.
And it can happen at any time.
So May 11th.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I think the ballot is the
Tuesday,
19th.
Tuesday, right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's fine. Last day.
It seems late this year, doesn't
Wait,
it?
this would be your last meeting then if they don't.
Yeah, that.
So April 21st.
I mean, we have space, we can. make that work.
So you're the only one who's not available. Are you available 21st, 21st?
It's a Monday, Bill.
No,
It's a Tuesday, I'm sorry.
Tuesday.
So it's a different day. But all 4 of you have to commit because you're needed for a quorum.
I'm assuming, I don't know, I didn't bring my calendar, I don't think I have anything on my calendar.
So you're looking at April 21st at 1 o'clock? Yeah, Bridgeport Housing Trust or whatever. It's Tuesdays are already really heavy meeting days, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so that's fine. April 21st, 1 p.m.
1 p.m. Okay.
I will notify the town.
Back here.
It'll be here.
It'll be here. Do we have any other business to come before us? Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I so move.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you all for being here.
Assistant for men.
Don't forget to end your meeting then.
Oh, yeah, missed everything last. We started talking about that. Next thing you know, all of a sudden, the like town manager to our meeting to try to explain things. And after a little while, then Mark comes down. And says, "I can't explain it."